What will you do to unlock innovation? In today's fast-paced world, innovation might not be enough. Tomorrow's pioneers of change will need to be agile, able to adapt, and committed like never before. Your host, Sannah Vinding, invites you to listen in and join business leaders from around the world as they share their visions for success in our future business challenges.
Welcome to Unlock Innovation. I'm Sannah Vinding. Today I'm really honored because I invited Norbert Majerus to join me. He worked for Goodyear for almost 40 years as a lean champion. I'm really hands down on this one. He retired a few years ago and he started his own consulting firm. Norbert and I know each other through the LPPDE network. That's an organization where we both are on the board and we both have a passion about lean product development. So that's why I have Norbert today. So Norbert, welcome. Tell me about your passion for continuous improvement and a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you, Sannah. Thanks for inviting me. Well, I became an engineer. I really don't know why I became an engineer, but that's what it ended up after college. And really, I'm an innovator. The stuff that I like to do was new stuff, and at Goodyear I worked in innovation all my career, and I got 60 patents, only counting the U.S. patents. So they really gave me the opportunity to do that. And I learned, I learned things the traditional way. I learned innovation the traditional way, the way business school teaches it, and so on. And there are some shortfalls in that. And over the years, I really learned how to do it better, much, much better. And
Yeah.
the last 15 years of my career, I got an opportunity to learn lean. And by the way, I didn't want to do it when I was asked to because I thought it was a total waste of time. But now I know it was not, because I learned so much in that time. I have so many things that we corrected at Goodyear and that I have had the time to work on even after I retired from Goodyear that really work well, and that companies really should learn about and should be doing. And
Yeah.
that's what I'm doing in retirement. Well, Sana, you said I have a consulting company. Well, I consult a
Yes.
lot, but it's mostly volunteer work, to be quite honest. I'm involved with the major organizations like LPPDE
Yeah.
because I learned a lot. I worked hard on that stuff, and I really like to share it. And so that's really why I do so much volunteer work. I really want to share what I learned. And
Yeah.
that's
No,
how I met you on the board of the.
yeah, right. That's how we met each other. Yeah. Okay. So when you're in the lean product development space and the R&D space, what's the most important thing you can do in this space?
Well, R&D, most people look at R&D, well, those are these guys locked up over there someplace, and we better don't go there. We have to leave them alone, and they just tinker around with stuff. Well, that's really not the image of R&D anymore. By the way, I
Yeah.
learned it that way. That's not the image of R&D anymore. R&D is creating value for the customer now. And if you don't create value for the customer, you don't have a product to sell.
No.
And that's where the whole thing starts for a company. If you don't develop in R&D what you can make money with, how else are you going to get that product? And at Toyota, actually, I did learn this from Toyota, like many other things, by the way. They said that the profitability of a vehicle is decided in R&D, because the decisions whether that vehicle will be profitable or not are all made in R&D when it's on the drawing board. And
Yeah.
well, they say 95% of the profitability comes from the decisions that are made in the design phase. It may not be 95%, but for sure, if you want to make money on that product, you better get it right in R&D. And that's where you can apply lean thinking. And virtually all that we are today that we are promoting with lean product development, lean innovation, and so on, is
Yeah.
focused on that. How can I help R&D be better at what R&D is doing? That's developing products that sell, can be manufactured, and make money. So that really
Is
is
the
what I want to drive home for people in R&D. And
yeah.
that should be the main focus.
Yeah.
On the other side, however, if you see opportunities to do it more efficiently, well, why not? And just a caveat there, I learned that if I get faster in R&D, I get more efficient at the same time. So
Yeah.
you don't even have to focus on the efficiency. You kind of get it
It
for free.
comes. Yeah.
But
It comes that
hey,
way.
and if it's there, you take it, of course. But the
Yeah.
focus should be, how can I do a better job in R&D to create value for the customer?
Yeah. What about the whole people aspect? I think that's a key
Well,
thing because you can have all these tools or all this training, but the secret sauce is also with the people or the
uh,
culture that you have in your company. So what's your experience there?
well, that's a very big lesson learned, Sannah. When I started Lean in R&D, I virtually read every book that I could find.
Yeah.
And it was at a time when Goodyear had no money to send people to training, so that was the only thing I had. Well, then later I went out and went to conferences, met people, and so on. And it was all about the process. And I actually went on record at Goodyear saying, get the process right, and the results will follow.
Yeah.
And I still say that is correct. But
Okay.
I had totally underestimated the people part. For me, it was just tell people about the new process and they will absolutely jump on it and do it.
And go with it.
And that didn't happen.
No.
And
No.
I learned that if you want to have a successful transformation, regardless in manufacturing or
Yeah.
at a hospital or wherever you do it, you have process is important. I think the people part is just as important, even not more important.
Hmm.
But I tell you one thing, the process is easy, but the people part is the difficult one.
Yeah.
And then I went to Shingo. Very late in my career, I learned this at Shingo. I found out that, you see, they do these assessments and they give you a Shingo award. And Goody actually had gotten a Shingo award at a plant very,
Yeah. Oh.
many years ago. And
Hmm.
a good friend of mine, he actually implemented it there. And I went to that plant about 5, 6, 7 years later. There
Okay.
was nothing left. There was nothing left for what they got the Shingo
Well, they
Award.
got it
It
wrong.
was
Yeah.
still an excellent plant, don't get me wrong.
Yeah. 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 No. No.
But
No. No.
what
No.
they did to
But
get
what
the
they
Shingo Award, there was
achieved,
nothing left.
yeah,
And then
was not
I
there.
dug a little deeper, and actually Shingo teaches that today. They say, hey, when we as a company today, we look at has a cultural transformation taken place.
Yeah.
That's what they start with. And they say, because if that cultural transformation has not taken place, it will not last
You
long.
won't succeed with it.
And
Yeah.
actually, at Goodyear, we didn't go for the Shingo Award. Shingo didn't at that time did not assess R&D organizations, but the AME did, Association for Manufacturing Excellence, and they actually follow a very similar track. And we got very good grades for that at Goodyear, because for me, the only way to do a successful lean transformation is you implement the process, and as you do that, you have to um, I like to say you have to do it from the inside out. The
Yeah.
people have to do it because they want to do it, not
Yeah.
because they have to do it. And in
Yeah.
order for the people to want to do it, you have to focus on the people aspect. They have to be motivated, and they have to learn all that thing. They have to understand why you do this thing, and you have to let them develop it. Because if they develop it, they will sustain it, and they will do all the changes later that have to happen. So
Yeah. If
that
they
was
have
a
some
very
ownership of it, right?
that's
It's that
correct.
they foster
Yes,
it, the new
they have to
process
own it.
together with the team, and that can take it. They have the
Exactly
ownership of
right.
it. Yeah.
That ownership is extremely important, because if they
Yeah.
own it, you got it made. They keep
Yeah.
it, and they will keep developing it. So that was a very big lesson learned, and that is something that you don't see in the traditional books on lean
No.
product development, lean innovation. So that is actually a story that I like to share, to make people, to draw people's attention to how important that people part is. And for by the way, I learned it later on, but it was not too late to catch up.
It's okay. Hey, we learn
That
every
actually,
day. Yeah.
that actually became a big piece of the passion that I have for this subject today. So,
That no, that's a it's a key thing that it's, and I also think in different organization you have a different, there's different people, right? There's a different mix. That's the
absolutely,
diversity.
absolutely,
There's so much
absolutely.
dynamic that needs to go together.
Absolutely. Now,
So
an
yeah,
example there, Sannah, I went through this firsthand. I was part of this when we hired a consulting company, and they came in, and this was at a plant, and they told people what to do, and there was a total failure because it only worked as long as they were physically there to keep telling people what to do.
yeah,
We have had successful transformations, very successful transformations, but it always went the other way. We hired a consultant to teach the people, the
yeah,
principles, because it is the work that we do, especially in IT, is extremely complicated. And I think it would take a consultant years to understand it. But guess what? The people who do the work, they know it, they understand it. And it's
yeah,
very easy to teach them the lean principles and get them engaged and get them to own that new
yeah,
process.
yeah.
So that's really a
That's the one.
big
One
lesson
one
learned.
yeah, lessons learned. The one thing I've seen as well, and that can be in any department, is to learn to zoom out, to say you don't just look at your own little silo, what goes in and how can I be more efficient. You need to understand the full circle, because maybe there's something happening out here that has a big impact of what you're
Yeah.
doing. So that's
Uh,
something I preach.
yeah, and that is a very good one, Sannah. What I learned also is we implementing lean in R&D at Goodyear was not enough. You get
Yeah,
benefits, but if you don't get the whole organization, I mean, those benefits go up exponentially if you get everybody engaged.
yeah,
And we, especially me, had to learn that marketing has to be engaged just as well. And finance, I never talked to finance people before, by the way. And manufacturing, it used to be, hey, I developed this product and then it's their problem. Well, that has changed. I have to design that product so they can be successful
go,
making it.
yeah.
And oh man, that took years to understand. But and I have to design this product so marketing can sell it. Oh boy, that's a whole
That's what,
nother story. That,
no,
but
no,
that
no.
is very good. You have to zoom out. That's a good way to
Yeah,
put it.
and see and
Everybody has
everything.
to be engaged for this thing to be successful.
What about, so when I talk to friends or colleagues or networking and I say, oh, my passion is within lean product development, everybody's like, oh, that's the Toyota. What should we call it? Should it stay with lean? Should we call it something else? Is it hybrid with agile and lean? Is it more important to look at the understanding and see, where the end goal is, or is it more important to fix the name? What do you think?
Well, let me tell you a story, and we can take it further then. At Goodyear, we did everything. We did TQC, what was it called? Re-engineering the company. We did Six Sigma. I actually became a Six Sigma Master Black Belt. By the way, I absolutely loved that job. And then it became lean and so on. And when we were about 6 months into lean, people asked, "What's next?" And I said, there is nothing next. "Yeah, we have to do something else. We have been
Yeah,
doing this too
yeah,
long." I said, no, no, we keep improving this thing. And I don't care what we call it because, and then we implemented the basic principles and then we took it to the front end, the creative piece, and implemented a lot of these lean startup things and so on. And now, of course, everybody wants to do industry. What is it? Are we at six already? We started 4.0, 5.0, 6.0. This revolution of IT, of the digital. Okay, that all goes together, Sannah. There's only one goal
yeah,
to get better at innovation.
yeah.
There is no other
That's the
goal.
core, right? Going back to the
And
innovation.
there we go.
Yeah,
If you use startup in one place, startup thinking, agile, okay, that's if it fits, do it. If you get better results from digital media, from data mining, and you name it, go do it.
yeah,
It's this. I don't know if this is cultural or how that. Well, I think it has a lot to do with every time people always like to sell you something new, and they come up with a new name,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah. That's like
everybody
cycles of it, right?
there we go, and everybody thinks now we got something new, and
Yeah.
there are new things, but they have to build on each other, and
Yeah.
that's the only way to do
That's
it.
the
So what do we call it? I don't know. I don't even know what comes after excellence, Hannah. We went from lean to and always now then it became operational excellence, and I'm just waiting for
for the
excellence
next.
to get replaced with something now.
It'll be plus
But
plus, right?
there we go. But it doesn't change what we
Um,
already have, and it builds on what we already have, and it may take us in another direction. That's
yeah.
fine. That's the evolution that we have to go through. But the bottom line is we get better at doing innovation and making money on it.
Yeah. No, totally agree. Okay, I'm coming to my last question here. So what would you tell Norbert 10 years ago? If you're looking back now, what would have helped you? What's the lessons learned?
That's actually a good question, Sannah. I went into engineering. I said before, I don't know why I went into it. I think I know it because I didn't want anything to do with people.
Okay.
And I'm not kidding. Over my career, my best projects were where I can go hide in my cubicle and
Yeah.
nobody comes bother me, and I do
Work on
great.
it and then
I
ta-da!
do great. There we go. I do great work, and there are projects where that works. By the way, there are projects where that works, but very, very rarely. If you want to be successful today in the industry, you have to collaborate with everybody,
Yeah.
and that didn't work for me at all. Whenever I had something come up where I had to work with people, I, I, it was almost for sure I screwed it up. And okay, that's why I went into Six Sigma. And when I was asked to do lean, I said, no, that has to do with people, please. I'm not your man. But then I learned, and I learned a few things. I learned things like respect for people.
Yeah.
I learned to use my influence to engage people and things like that. And I have to say today, I'm at least comfortable working with people. I'm not saying I'm good at it, but I'm saying I'm at
No,
least
no, no. You moved. You moved too. You improved.
I'm at least comfortable.
You're
Okay.
not excellent yet. No.
No, no, and I don't think you can get excellent at that. But anyway,
Uh,
uh, I wish I had learned that at the beginning of my career.
yeah.
I would have had definitely a different career, and I for sure would have had a much more successful career because I learned that so late in my career. And if anybody had told me 10 years ago or 15 years ago that I can learn working with people and get good at it, I would not have
Yeah.
believed. But
Okay.
and it was, by the way, the behaviors that changed, and the behaviors changed the beliefs.
Yeah.
Again, something that I know
No,
now.
but it's all connected,
Uh,
right? The behaviors, the
there we
process,
go.
the culture. It's all
That's
integrated and
That's
touch each
correct.
other.
And by
Yeah.
changing your behaviors, you can actually learn to work
Yeah.
with people. And
Yeah.
now I know how to do it, Sada.
That's good. No, 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 no. That was great, and it's. I think it's so fun that doing this interview or podcast here is that even though we know each other, just doing this and asking some few questions, and it's just us, I learn much more about you that
Oh,
I've
good.
done before. No, but that makes me. It's great to see that communication and the people aspect when you're talking about it and you actually listen to each other can take you places as well.
Well, it's also
So
interesting. We never talked about this, you and me, but I saw the lights go on when I said certain things. It's obvious that
yeah,
you knew them and that you do
yeah,
the same things. So
yeah.
it was nothing new, and that's good.
Now we can create a new workshop together. No.
There we go.
We got that. So I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time. And I don't know if you have any last words you want to say, or then you
I
can say.
think you gave me the opportunity to say a lot. I would just say try it. If you feel it's overwhelming, don't worry, try it, and keep going at it. You will be successful with it, and it's very, very much worth it. to try to use this kind of thinking to improve how you create innovation.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, thank you so much, and stay tuned.